when I said this, so let me say it again. There's a difference between a man who wants you and a man who values you. The two are not the same. And we live in this world where, social media makes it seem like it's the same. You got girls that get all the attention, they get all the likes and comments and shares and stuff like that. And you see all the talk about them and they just lit and it seems like they also live the best life and they have the best relationships and they're just the happiest and the healthiest and they live the longest and their hair days never bad and all this other stuff. But let me tell you something. Just because men want you and they express that doesn't mean that they truly value you. I was telling my Self-Crown VIP member this, and she's been down with the crew for like 4 years now since we first began Self-Crown VIP. And I remember in the beginning, she was struggling to get guys, and she felt like she was. And she attributed that to how few guys desired her physically. So she went and got her body done, okay? I'm not one of those anti-get your body done people. I'm also not a pro anti-get your body done. I'm a pro do whatever you do, but for the right reason type of guy. And I don't think this is necessarily the right reason, but nonetheless, she did it. Now, she came to me on the last live chat. D, I got a lot of guys I'm entertaining. How do I choose the right one? Because every time I start to get to know one, it's like I go down the wrong path. It's not right. He's on some BS and da-da-da-da. I can't seem to choose the right one. I got a lot of guys though. So she fixed that problem. And I said, okay, you got a lot of guys that what? And she said, I got a lot of guys that want me. I said, okay, but which one of them values you? Well, how do I choose that? Well, that's the first question that should have been asked. Because you can get a lot of guys to want you. And let me just tell you the truth. It's nice to have somebody that wants you. But think of somebody that wants you as like, oh, I'll have her. That's what when a guy wants you, that's exactly what he's saying. Yeah, I'll take it. It'd be nice to have. It'd be nice to get access to. But when somebody values you, that means they not only want to obtain you, but they're willing to do what it takes to sustain you. Like, think of it like if you're at an expensive dinner party, everybody bellyfoot, everybody's ate and stuff like that. You go in the kitchen and you see a piece of chicken on a plate or something like that. And another person says, hey man, you want that last piece of chicken? You probably be like, I'll take it. Cool. Like, no problem, right? But think if you were that same group of people and God forbid, you were stranded on an island and then you realized you found a little bag that had chicken in it, a piece of chicken in it. Now, ain't nobody got to ask you if you want it. Ain't none of that. You value that, right? Because it has more meaning. And you don't know when you're going to eat again. Now, I'm not saying the men in the dating pool should be acting like they're stranded at sea and all this other stuff, but they will value you because they know you're one of one. It ain't like they're good, they ain't really tripping on it, whatever. No, like when a man values you, it's like not only do I gotta have, but I also gotta keep this person. And I gotta do what it takes in order to sustain and protect that person's space in my life. So like I was giving her, I was like, okay, let me give you a couple of signs that a man truly values you. And none of these are exhaustive, but these are just some indicators. One indicator is gonna be that he leaves zero confusion on his intentions with you long term. Y'all ever been with a dude and oh man, he got all the compliments in the world. He winking. He got all the flirtatious stuff, jokes, all that stuff. All your jokes is funny. But as soon as you ask him about what does he want long term, it get real confusing. He'll talk a lot longer and say a whole lot less. Put I down in the chat if you ever dealt with a guy like that. Somebody, let me know if I'm talking to you. I want to get married, but then I've seen some bad marriages, and my daddy, he went down to Titanic, and I just, my last relationship, whoo, that was crazy. It was traumatized. I'm still healing, but I'm ready for love. But I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship, that protects the person that I love. And then my goldfish, it caught cancer, and so I'm not sure if I can get married, but I would like marriage. That's what you get whenever you deal with somebody who wants you, but they really want to leave themselves. Okay, so when a guy starts playing all those verbal gymnastics, basically what he's doing is leaving himself a way out. So later on, you don't have basis for hating him or torching his car, blowing up his spot, or whatever else the case may be. So when a guy is leaving all these blurred lines and confusion and question marks around his long-term intentions, he probably doesn't value you. And maybe that's something he can grow to do. I wouldn't bet on it though. But right now, you don't have to have no question. He just wants you. Another way to know that a guy truly values you is when he has nothing to hide. And I'm not saying he should be an open book about all of his traumas and, give you the password to his phone. But if he sees that you're looking for an opportunity to be secure, and even what you're initially investing into that dating situation, he's going to open up what else he got going on, how he's moving, how many he's moving with. Now, again, this shouldn't feel like no interrogation on his end. But whenever a guy sees that, oh, she's taking interest in me, he also knows other guys are taking interest in you, and he has to set himself apart if he truly values you, if he's going to truly obtain and sustain you. So when you get to asking him questions, if he has something to hide, whatever it is that he's hiding, he feels like is more important than the opportunity to secure you and possibly be with you for the long term. It just is what it is. Another way that you know that a guy truly values you is whenever he sacrifices. When he invests, but in a way that sacrifices in order to give you guys a better opportunity to build that foundation. Another little quick story, man. I had a young lady that I once dated, and, things didn't go well or whatever. I just peeped, she's not my type of gal. So she hit me up with a picture of this Rolex she was wearing. Was like, yeah, what you wouldn't do, another man will. Basically, another man bought a Rolex. I wasn't about to buy her no dog Rolex. Also because I saw that she would do stuff like this. Be dating a man while hitting up somebody she used to date to flaunt. Whatever. Cool. I didn't respond. But I looked at it, and because I know the guy that got it for her, and he's a really, really, really well-off guy, I'm just thinking to myself, like, that don't mean nothing. That same amount of money he put on that, he probably put on strippers, he probably throws away, he probably mismanages. Like, that don't mean nothing just because that man spent money. That's why some of y'all have been with a guy who cashed out on you, put all this money, did all this, bought all this stuff, and you still felt like trash in the relationship because he was giving you something that was meaningless. And when somebody gives you something that's meaningless, it's not a sacrifice. You can't even experience it as meaningful. Put I down in the chat if you've ever been with a guy who threw money at you, did all that kind of stuff, but what you really wanted was what money couldn't buy. You wanted the affection. You wanted made time, not spare time. When he got something, when nothing else is going on in his life, put I down in the chat if that's all you wanted and he was putting all this. Now it's good to have a guy who, break bread and all that stuff. Everybody like money, let's be real. But it don't mean nothing if it's not a sacrifice. It don't mean nothing to him. He's not willing to make sacrifices. He's not willing to deal with ugly parts of himself so that he can better protect and love you. He in his busy schedule, that's why it means so much. When you get a man that's busy, he's a great father, so he's spending time with his kids, he's building a business, or he works long hours at his job, he contributes to his community, he got this, that, and the other going on. You know that man is busy, but then he makes consistent time for you. It means something. Way more than the man who got money to waste and he wastes a little bit on you just because you're going to be able to flaunt to your friends and da-da-da-da-da. When a man values you, he makes those sacrifices. He makes those investments, and it's not always comfortable for him to do so. Another way that you know that a man truly values you is if he removes all restrictions and potential constrictions to you guys being able to connect. So what you'll come across, especially if a guy has principles and stuff like, he'll have rules. I don't really do this. I don't really do that. But let's say you had a trip planned out the country to see your family or something like that before you met him, and he don't do long distance relationships. I guarantee you, a man that truly values you is going to make that exception. Men who value you will make exceptions if it makes room for them to be able to connect with you. Anytime you come into a situation and a man got all these rules, and the rules basically mean that y'all can't connect, you can't talk to him, you can't text him, you can't call him, you can't do this. There's one way to call him at one time, and there's no budging whatsoever, even for reasonable reasons. That man don't truly value you. He wants you. It'd be nice to have you. It'd be cool to have some access to you, but he ain't really tripping on that. And another way that you know that a man truly values you, and this one is really important, is when that man can take no, and it does not change his interest level that he's showing in you. You tell him no for sex. You tell him no that you're not available on this particular day. You tell him no, you're not really wanting to go to a relationship right this second. Whatever the no is. And it does not change his momentum. What you'll find on the dating scene, y'all, is a lot of times where a guy, he good. Knight in white shining armor, all in. But the moment you say, I'm not too comfortable with that, actually. Actually, I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm not okay coming to your house or this or that. Boom. emotionally ghost. He might physically be there still. He might continue to text you. He might continue to pick up the call. He might, keep the commitment to see you whenever he said he's going to see you. But you can tell something switched off in this guy. He just pulled back. His energy changed. Your intuition is letting you know, something ain't right with this now. Put I down in the chat if I'm talking to anybody. The moment you rejected him or told him no in any capacity, no, it's not that you were too rude. It's not that you were hostile. It's not that he's fragile or whatever. No, it's that he can't take no. And you can't take no with things that are only meant for your convenience. And when something's only for your convenience, you just want it. It would be nice to have it. You desire to enjoy the benefits of it. But you're not really ready to sustain the reality of it, which is that sometimes it's not going to be available to you in this particular aspect, or for this person, based on what they've been through, based on whatever keeps them safe. It's a certain pace they got to move at. When a man truly values you, it's okay for you to tell him no, because it ain't about just what you do for him. It ain't about just you being convenient and always making him comfortable. It's really about you long term, good, bad, and ugly, comfortable and uncomfortable. And let me tell you something. A man has to truly have that kind of relationship with himself in terms of really valuing himself, his own principle, his own words, his own value, his own worth, in order to project that onto you in a relationship. So you can't look for this from somebody who can't come from this in order to give it to you. A lot of y'all looking for a man to value, and they don't even value themselves. They don't value their promises. They don't value the people in their lives, the children that they brought into this world. They don't value themselves. And for a man to truly value himself, he has to evolve beyond just what the world said about him. That he's good in bed, or he's an ATM, or, he's a gangster or whatever. He has to evolve to understand his own truth, live in that, walk in that. And then and only then can he get a woman to truly align with that and give her what she needs in order to align with that. But again, that takes an evolved man. Now, if you feel like you're ready for that, you've done what you need to do as a woman to complement that, but you're not coming across those types of men, you have to use the strategies that set you apart from other women as well. Because while y'all got intuition, men don't have that, even evolved ones. You have to make yourself set apart from other women, because everybody look good, for an evolved man to know that you're also an evolved woman. And you don't have to be fake to do it. You ain't got to get no surgeries to do it. You ain't got to people please. You ain't got to be no pick me or none of that. You just have to use the right strategies. Now, if you want more information on that, I broke down the strategies for ordinary women on to conventionally beautiful women to, whatever, wherever you're at, that can make sure that you have evolved men who are craving you. If you want more access to that masterclass, click the link that you see pinned right here down in the comments. Get access to that masterclass. It's free. Ain't gotta pay me nothing. But you gotta hurry up and register before that masterclass comes down. Secrets to making evolved men crave you, where you can get access to the strategies that are already working for women in attracting evolved men, so you could choose the right one for you. But back to what I was saying. The difference between a man that wants you and a man that values you is that the man that wants you, yes, he wants to get close to you, and that's cool. That's cool. When a man values you, yeah, he wants to get close to you, but he's also willing to do what it takes to protect you. The protection factor, the sustaining factor, the sacrifice factor, the investment factor, that separates it from just a man who wants you. But those are just my thoughts. I'm your internet brother trying to look out. Y'all let me know if you got anything from this. And if you did, if this blessed you in any way, share this to your timeline for somebody else that you can bless. Somebody in your friend circle or family that needs to hear this as well. And if you're in the market for an evolved man, click the link. Don't miss the opportunity to get this masterclass for free. Click the link that you see pinned right down here in the comments. It's also in the caption whenever you back out. And get access to the free masterclass, Secrets to Make an Evolved Man Crave You.